Good morning, and welcome to the Alameda Connection on KCSM HD2. I'm your host, Scott Piehler. Each and every week on the Alameda Connection, it's my pleasure to share with you the people, places, and things that make the East Bay's Island City the fantastic destination that it is. Alameda's got some of the most wonderfully quirky history behind it as well. If you enjoy the convenience of not having to stir your peanut butter every time you open the jar, you can thank an Alamedan. That's right, Joseph Roosevelt. He was the first person to come up with the idea of adding vegetable shortening to crushed peanuts and therefore prevent separation. That was way back in 1923 when he licensed that process to Peter Pan and then to Skippy in 1933. Another treat with its roots in Alameda, the popsicle. Frank Pop Epperson sold his first Epperson's Ice Pop, known as Pop's Sickle, in 1923 at Alameda's Neptune Beach Amusement Park. Modern-day Alameda is still a mecca for foodies of all stripes, and also for those who enjoy a vibrant arts scene. My guest today is Jennifer Radakovich, Executive Director of Rhythmix Cultural Works. With their multicultural arts focus and a dedication to bringing the performing arts to public places, Rhythmix Cultural Works has been a beloved part of Alameda since 1999, when the Rhythmix Ensemble brought world music to thousands of school children throughout the Bay Area, as well as setting up exchange programs that took more than 100 adults on trips to study music in Cuba and Japan. Opening their permanent facility in 2007, the community-based arts organization has built their reputation through artistic excellence and the cultural depths of its programming. Join me as I sit down with Jennifer Radakovich, Executive Director of Rhythmix Cultural Works, and find out just how it is that Rhythmix brings the world to Alameda. That's this morning on the Alameda Connection, here on KCSM HD2. Good morning, Jennifer, and welcome to the Alameda Connection.
Good morning, Scott. Thank you for having me.
Rhythmix. First it was an organization, then it's a space in an organization. So let's look a little bit about the history of Rhythmix.
Rhythmix began in 1999 as the Rhythmix World Music Ensemble, founded by Janet Cueca. Rhythmix was a fusion ensemble, percussion fusion ensemble with Janet and a few other members. It was a women's music ensemble. They performed for the Adventures in Music program through the San Francisco Symphony for schools throughout San Francisco. So Rhythmix has always had an educational and arts education component in conjunction with its multicultural focus of the arts. At that time, Rhythmix, as a nonprofit, also ran exchange programs to take students to learn how to play music in Cuba and Japan.
Really?
Yes. So that was before we had a physical location. So Rhythmix was a music ensemble, performed in schools, and also led exchange programs. In 2007, actually 5 years before that, Janet purchased a building in Alameda with the intention of renovating it to turn it into a home for the nonprofit with a theater and an art gallery and work-live apartments for artists. It took 5 years to do the renovation and to work with the city to get the proper permits and the designations. It was the first building in Alameda that was designated as work-live for artists. It took 5 years to do the renovation. The building was totally stripped down to the skeleton, all the bricks resurfaced and put back together. It's the old Clamp Swing building.
Okay.
Before that, it was Alameda Rug Works.
Oh, really?
So that's where the Works connection comes from. So in 2007, Rhythmix Cultural Works opened its doors as a cultural hub for the community. We have a theater that seats around 170 people. We have a one-room art gallery and 6 work-live loft apartments for artists in the building.
Are those apartments currently occupied? Or
Yes, they are.
Really?
Yes.
That's fantastic. How do you get the word out to people that, hey, you can come and use the space?
Over the years, we've just done a lot of different outreach in the community. At the time that Rhythmix opened, it was really the only arts center in Alameda, the only multicultural arts center. And it still, to a large degree, is. Now there are a lot of nonprofit organizations. There are several arts organizations in Alameda, but Rhythmix was really the first to focus on multicultural arts and presenting a lot of different types of cultural art forms. In the early days of Rhythmix, the director and founder did a lot to pave the way for a lot of the arts that are happening right now in the city. Rhythmix staff worked extensively with the city to present programs and to bring the arts out into the community and to raise awareness of the arts. They did a lot of work in the early days. A lot of knocking on doors, working with the Alameda Sun. Yeah, I think Facebook had just come out at that time. So there was a little bit of social media, standard press releases, PSAs, all the things. You always have to do all the things to get the word out. And there are still people that come to our facility and don't know about it, even though they've lived here their whole lives.
That is a recurring theme on the Alameda Connection, because I got to the island, as my listeners know, in 2022. And more than one of the guests on the show, it has been, and I speak to native Alamedans about your function, your thing, and they go, what are you talking about? So it seems to be an Alameda thing. There's really, with Rhythmix and a lot of organizations on the island, it seems that there's two reactions to these organizations. It's they're fantastic, or I don't know about them. It's kind of an Alameda quirk.
Oh, well, that's great to know that there might be more fantastic things that we still don't know about yet.
There are gems to be uncovered. Let's talk about, and you've mentioned a few times, the fact that Rhythmix is focused on multicultural arts. What is the difference? What is the importance of that multicultural focus?
So I know it sounds like an oxymoron to focus on many different cultures. Rhythmix is an artist-led organization, and everyone in the organization has their own personal connection to the arts, generally with a very strong cultural focus. So our founder, Janet, was the artistic director of San Jose Taiko for a while. So she has roots in the Japanese American community and ties to the Taiko community. The former executive director, Tina Blaine, she has a long history of African percussion, different types of world percussion. I personally have a background in dance. My family is Serbian. I grew up learning Serbian folk dance. I discovered Hawaiian hula at an early age. What really struck me was how much you can learn about people and culture through artistic practices.
Certainly.
So through hula, you're learning about history, you're learning about traditions, you're learning language. I think that's something that carries through all of our programming and in our mission. The mission of Rhythmix Cultural Works is to build community through engagement in the arts by learning about each other and the world. We use the arts as a way to connect people to each other and to learn about each other and learn about what makes our community what it is.
I was very impressed. This was 2023. Oftentimes people, they hear the term multicultural and they immediately go to, say, Peter Gabriel's WOMAD Festival, where we're going to go about all these countries. But you had an exhibit and a talk, the Gee's Bend Quilters. And I was duly impressed because A, the textile arts don't get enough love, and B, this is something from the rural American Southeast that nonetheless has this deeply important cultural tradition attached to it that most people have no clue.
Well, that was a fabulous opportunity that came to us by way of the city of Alameda. So we have pretty strong partnerships with the city, and we're so fortunate that we have such a beautiful space where we can do a variety of things. So the city had an opportunity to bring the Gee's Bend Quilters here and asked us if we could present in our theater. That was just a wonderful opportunity that came to us.
Like I said, I was duly impressed. Now, a lot of things you do are fairly Alameda focused. Island City Waterways, Rising Seas. How do things like that come about?
Even though we have a space, we have a physical theater, we have our art gallery, we've always presented public art. So we've always gone out into the community and worked with what's called site-specific performances. So using the land to inform what you're presenting.
Sure.
So Island City Waterways is a creation by Janet Cueca. Her inspiration was to use the arts to help people learn about the history of our land here in Alameda. So Island City Waterways specifically, there were 3 of them.
And they were great. I was at a couple of them. They were wonderful.
Yeah, using about 50 different performing artists, musicians, dancers, actors, storytelling, with 11 to 12 performances over the course of 3 days. Island City Waterways would literally walk people through an area and tell the story of that space in Alameda. So one was along the estuary and told the history of Alameda becoming an island.
Mm-hmm.
One was at Crab Cove and looked at the history of Neptune Beach. And then the most recent one was on the Naval Air Station. So we had the opportunity to look at the history of flight, look at Japanese internment, and look at what is happening in the space now. So taking people through history into the future.
And I was very impressed, as my listeners know, I was a theater educator. I loved guerrilla theater, but I had a bone to pick with a lot of the art appreciation crowd because I felt they sort of put it in a glass box and you shall now appreciate this art. And I'm sitting there going, Shakespeare was popular entertainment. If you play orchestral music for indigenous people, they dance. And I just adore the way you bring that out to the people where they are. That's a wonderful aspect of what you do.
Thank you.
Which leads us to now we're talking about Island City Waterways, then Rising Seas. Just recently we had Rising Seas.
Yes, that was a big project, year-long project, Rising Seas, which was also part of the Rising Tides Climate Initiative that was presented alongside other public art performances by West End Arts District and Radium Presents. Mm-hmm. The Rhythmix portion of it was Rising Seas, which from August 2024 to August 2025, we presented 5 different live performance events mm-hmm. at different waterfront parks throughout Alameda. Music, dance, theater, community organizations, art activities. We also had 2 visual art exhibits in our gallery that focused on climate change. We had a series of interviews called Conversations About Climate Change, mm-hmm. 13 interviews with local and global climate leaders. The whole program was inspired, again, by Janet mm-hmm. When she attended a City of Alameda event mm-hmm. about resilience and sustainability sure. department mm-hmm. and all of the things that the City of Alameda was doing to help mitigate climate change and the shoreline adaptation efforts. And Janet wanted to see if she could use the arts to help amplify the city's message and to let people know what was happening in the island.
Beyond the 2 events we just talked, you also have the whole Arts in the Park series. So
yes.
Tell people a few examples of what Arts in the Park and what might be coming up in the future. That's just cool stuff.
So I like how you framed it earlier, bringing art to the people. In 2022, we started working with the City of Alameda's Recreation and Parks Department to really activate our park spaces and bring arts to people who maybe can't come to our theater. Mm-hmm. So we've been hopping around the island at, as many different parks as we can, bringing world music and dance with an educational focus, mm-hmm. just right into the parks. And reflecting what you said earlier about people in Alameda not maybe knowing about all right. of the things that exist, it seemed to be true of the parks too. Right. We always had somebody come up to us at the event and say, "Oh, I've driven past this park so many times and didn't realize it was a place where I could come right. and, enjoy it in this way." So I think it's really important to meet people where they are, but also build new memories of spaces and recreate people's relationship to the land and the city that they live in.
And for people who are listening who are not from Alameda, Alameda has one of the best under-the-radar park systems that's out there. And no matter if you want to sit on the estuary and watch the ships, if you want to sit under redwood trees, it's all here. And like you say, people drive by and go, "Oh, I had absolutely no idea."
Yeah. And some of the parks are a little hidden, or they're parks that are new. We've helped activate 3 new parks in Alameda also. So Seaplane Lagoon Promenade. Mm-hmm. We presented one of the first performances there.
I was there. Actually,
mm-hmm.
I had just gotten to the island
Yes.
And that was when I first became introduced to Rhythmix, because my wife and I looked around and said, wow, this is quite the to-do.
Yes, we partnered with the West End Arts District to help activate that space, Bullhole Circle Immigrant Park, still helping people figure out how to get there too. And the newest park, Svensson Maritime Park at the old Alameda Marina location. We were just there this summer. Beautiful space.
That is a wonderful. My dog loves that space.
Yes, I've heard it's the hidden secret dog park.
It really, really is. Now, in addition to all the work you do around the island, we've talked about the space you have at 2513 Blanding, which for folks who, where is that? That's near the Nob Hill grocery store. Between
the Park Street Bridge and the Fruitvale Bridge.
There you go, right in between. That was voted a best event space by one of the local magazines. So congratulations on that. So,
thank you.
Very well done. But you have some things going on there. You and I were communicating before this interview. You had 400 kids there?
Yes.
Now you have to, I'm confused because your theater capacity is 150. What was going on?
Okay. So we have a lovely, lovely program called Performance, Art, and Learning, or PAL. It's in its 13th year. It is our arts education program where we present world music and dance performances to students throughout Alameda County in our theater. And the secret of getting so many students into our space is that we have 2 shows.
Okay, good.
Yes. So the students are a little smaller than adults,
True.
They can sit on the floor, and we can serve about 200 students per show.
Okay.
And we'll have 2 shows back to back.
Perfect.
So that's how we get the 400 number.
Okay,
they don't come all at once.
Oh, very good. I was worried for a moment.
The PAL program is just so wonderful and amazing. We are fortunate to have some transportation funding, so we can bring students from Hayward, Oakland, San Leandro, and it's really lovely to have students from different cities all in the same audience.
Now, you touched on funding. Let's put on that. Where does Rhythmix get its funding from? I know these days funding is a sore topic for a lot of nonprofits with everything going on. But what are your funding sources?
Yeah, well, we get funding from everywhere we can. It's the same as the marketing that we talked about. You have to do everything. You have to do a little bit of everything. So we rely mostly on our individual donors. That's always our biggest, most sustainable source of funding. We really rely on individual people who are connected to us and believe in our mission to support us every year. We also have a little bit of revenue that comes in from ticket sales from our concert events, but it is a very, very small percent.
Sure.
We also have some rentals that we do for our space, also a very small percent. We obviously apply for grants.
Of course.
And that is always in flux. We apply for as many grants as we can. We cross our fingers and hope for the best. There are individual foundations, private foundations, and then there's also government funding too. So we can apply for grants through the Public Art Commission through the city of Alameda. At the county level and at the state level, there are also government grants sometimes available.
You've done an event, whatever event, just pick one out of the air. What is a compliment you've received from a patron or a visitor that has made you go home and say, this is why I do what I do?
I think after one of our performances, it was a Balinese gamelan performance.
Okay.
And we had an audience member come up to us afterwards and say, I've been on this planet for over 30 years and I can't believe I never knew that something like this existed. So thank you so much for helping me learn something new.
You've got a lot on your plate. You do a lot. What is it that keeps you coming back to Rhythmix day after day, year after year? What keeps Jennifer Radakovich at Rhythmix?
I feel like Rhythmix is a really unique space that is just full of possibility and potential. So yes, we have a building.
Right. Yes,
we have a theater. Yes, we have an art gallery. But as we've discussed earlier, we're not contained to those things. We have the potential and the possibility to create new programs, create new experiences for people. It's almost like whatever we imagine, we can just try to do it.
I've been there. That's as a community theater director, the idea that anything's possible. Really? Watch me.
Yes. The other thing that I really love also is that being in the Bay Area, there are so many artists here, so many amazing artists from all around the world. Something that I love about our student assembly program is that the students are literally watching their neighbors perform in some cases.
That's fantastic.
Like the artists are here embedded in the community. And there aren't that many other cities where you can do what we do because there maybe aren't as many people working in the arts.
Sure.
So we just have a really unique opportunity, and we really try hard to support local artists and give artists the opportunity to perform and connect with the community right where they live.
I would argue that off the top, the only two cities that might even be competitive in that area would be Boston due to the prevalence of the number of colleges, and New York, just because New York is New York. But that really is an incredible opportunity. People will be hearing this show about mid-November. Any events coming up late November, December, January that have got you excited?
We have our annual Diwali Festival on November 15th, which we always partner with Nonstop Bhangra to present a family-friendly, lovely event with food, dancing. November 16th, we have the amazing Bubble Man, which also sounds like it's a show for children, which it is, but as an adult, you will really appreciate it as well. In December, we're presenting a Latin jazz ensemble named Asesu. They are coming back on the scene after a decade hiatus to honor some of the legends in Latin music in the Bay Area. So that will be really wonderful as well. And in January, we'll be working with Pamela Rose to present a new show that she has that's music of the 60s.
Oh, okay. Very good. Let's turn our focus a little bit to Jennifer. What is your journey into the arts? How did you wind up where you are now?
I talked a little bit earlier about just learning dance as a child, just always gravitating towards cultural art forms, Serbian folk dance growing up as part of my own personal community, Hawaiian hula, and that expanded when I got to college and, took some classes in flamenco and Ghanaian dance. And I just really, really became interested in the cultural and maybe even anthropological aspects of dance.
Sure.
Like, what does dance tell you about people and community and culture? I just went on to further my studies at the University of Hawaii and got a degree in dance ethnology. So I was really interested in just the broader aspects of what you can learn using dance and using the arts to learn about culture.
Two other questions, sort of related. How does Jennifer get to Alameda, and how does Jennifer get to Rhythmix?
A series of lots of different choices, lots of moves. I found myself in Santa Cruz.
Okay.
A decade or two ago. Santa Cruz is a wonderful place, amazing, fabulous artists there. So I was able to connect in with the dance community, started working for a nonprofit called Tandy Beal and Company. They did wonderful, wonderful programs in the schools and in the community. They also brought world music and dance to students, a fabulous organization, and they're still working today. That was a super fabulous experience. And then I met my now husband who lives here in the Bay Area. And
tale as old as time.
Yes. But as a prerequisite for moving up here, I was determined to have a job before making the move.
Okay, fair enough. Good call.
And I found Rhythmix.
Okay.
And I was just really lucky that the timing worked out. They had an opening, and it was very similar to the work that I had been doing in Santa Cruz. And I applied, and they said yes. Yay. So I came on up.
Now, the question, and I prepped you for this, and my guess, I always put them on the spot with this one. So here we are in Alameda. You've got company coming in. You've got to take them out to 3 different meals. So what 3 spots are you going to? And I always say, don't worry about the rest of the restaurants. They're all fantastic. But where are you taking those 3?
Okay, yes, they are all fantastic. Alameda has so many great choices. I like to take people to Burma Superstar
Okay.
if the wait is not too long. If the wait is long, sometimes I just go next door, which is also wonderful. I love Trabuco. I love Bon May Vane.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not sure
Yeah,
still how to pronounce that.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Yeah, but there's some excellent choices. Always new choices, too. So that's always fun. I think that was 3, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
We'll go with that. What do you like about Alameda in general? Just if you're just talking to somebody about, I live here because.
I like that even though we're in a big city, it's still kind of a small city, almost small town feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's walkable.
Sure.
It's bikeable. I can get places easily. And if I take a walk down the street, I'll see a lot of different people that I know. So it feels connected.
Mm-hmm. How can people help Rhythmix? There's somebody maybe out there, maybe they're not, hardcore arts but they're going, this is worth supporting. How can they help you?
There's so many different ways to support. Come to an event, bring a friend to an event. That's always a really great thing to do. And also keep an open mind. Part of what we want to do is introduce people to new things. Keep an open mind and try something new. A lot of people get stuck in their rut of what they like, but there's so many things out there. We provide an opportunity to try it out in different ways. So try it and see if there are new things that you like. And always bring a friend. You can always make a contribution. You can send us a donation through our website at rhythmix.org.
One last question, and I do this for a lot of my guests. I call it the elevator pitch question because we address the greater Bay Area here. So you're talking to someone, maybe they're not on Alameda, and the question is this, and you're on the elevator. Why should they get on the ferry or cross the bridge and come to Rhythmix? Why should they follow Rhythmix?
Because Rhythmix is a unique space where you can see something that maybe you've never seen before and see it in an intimate setting. Because our theater is small, you always have a really great seat.
And as an aficionado of live performance, you do have it's a beautiful little space. It really is wonderful. Jennifer Radakovich, Executive Director of Rhythmix Cultural Works. This has been an absolute delight. Thank you for spending time with us on the Alameda Connection.
Thank you again so much for having us.
Take care. Thanks again to Jennifer Radakovich, Executive Director of Rhythmix Cultural Works, for spending time with us this morning here on the Alameda Connection. If you want to find out everything that's going on at Rhythmix, head to their website, rhythmix.org. Now, I'm going to spell that out for you because the spelling might not be what you expect. That's Rhythmix, RHYTHMIX.org. One more time, rhythmix.org. RHYTHMIX.org. If you're heading out to take in one of their events at their facility, that's located at 2513 Blanding Avenue here in Alameda. Coming up next week on the Alameda Connection, we head back out to Alameda Point, another visit to Spirits Alley, for a sit-down with Shemaine Wofford, founder and proprietor of Vinyl Wine Bar. A passionate student of French wines and a lover of all music soulful and funky, Shemaine has created a wine bar that can only be described as chill. We'll talk about Shemaine's journey to opening Vinyl Wine Bar. We'll also talk about great wine, why price isn't the best indicator of the quality in your glass, how it was that Vinyl Wine Bar wound up in Alameda in the first place, and explore that one of the best things you can serve with caviar and champagne is potato chips. That's Shemaine Wofford of Vinyl Wine Bar, coming up next Sunday morning at 8 a.m. on the Alameda Connection here on KCSM HD2. If you'd like to check out previous episodes of the Alameda Connection, you can find the most recent ones on the KCSM website. Head to kcsm.org and follow the links from the KCSM HD2 schedule page. If you're looking for older episodes, you can find those on my YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and search Alameda Connection. We've got everything all the way back to the very first episode. If you want to keep up with the latest on what's going on with the show, the best way to do that is to follow me on Instagram. That handle, Alameda Connection. You'll find show previews and a list of upcoming guests. Once again, that's Instagram at Alameda Connection. If you have an idea for a show topic, go ahead and send me an email. That email address, alamedaconnection@gmail.com. As always, very special thanks to guitarist Bill Hart for providing our theme music. The song is called Beachside Isle, and it's featured on his 1999 album, Watch the Sky. I'm Scott Piehler. Hope to catch you next week, Sunday morning at 8 a.m. for my conversation with Shemaine Wofford, right here on the Alameda Connection.